Yeah. Uh-huh. What's that? Oh, you're getting scared, are you? Because I decided to do a Harry Potter review. And there are some people who are getting kind of scared of, me reviewing that stuff. Well, I'm not exactly going against religion. I'm just saying, it's just my way of telling people, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge the story unless you get to know the story itself. Because the imagination and the premise of the story is way better than what people thought it was. Uh-huh. Oh, you want to make more complaint about it? Well, you can call me by this number. 1-8765-427-BITE-ME. Actually, literally. It pronounced bite me. Yeah. Oh, okay. Alright, bye. People getting worried, folks. And of course, that's exactly what I'm saying. Never judge a story by the title, or even judge a story or a book by its cover. Anyway, here I am once again as the Great and Powerful Oz. And even though I'm called the Wizard of Oz, I'm not really a wizard. I'm a magician. So that reminds me, I hear there's a TV series called The Magicians going to be showing up on Sci-Fi. Of course, I don't have the Sci-Fi channel, but one of these days I would like to check that show out. Anyway, I return once again as the Great and Powerful Oz, so I'm going to review to you something to become a huge rash that I'm really so desperate to scratch. And my review to you today is Harry Potter. Now, I'm not being sacrilegious or anything, and of course, Harry Potter got nothing to do with Satan. Heck, here's certain movies involving Satan that I have a problem with. 1, I hate The Exorcist. I loathe The Omen. I despise M. Night Shyamalan Devil. And one movie that gets me madder as heck, Drag Me to Hell. I hate that movie so much. I mean, that movie just ticked me off to no end. And if any of you want me to review that movie, I'd rather be disemboweled by a group of ISIS members than review that. Anyway, moving right along. I mean, when it comes to movies involving Satan, it's where I draw the line. And Harry Potter got nothing to do with the devil or demons or Satan or anything like that. It's mostly about magic. And as a logical person like me, I mean, I'm a magician. All I do is tricks and illusions. No real magic involved. And besides, I'm a skeptical when it comes to magic. There's no such thing as magic. There's no such thing as magic. There's no such thing as psychics. And there's no such thing as, David Hasselhoff as an actor. Anyway, let's get to the story, shall we? You see, a long time ago, there was a British writer who goes by the name of J.K. Rowling. She was going down on her luck because most of her, she had welfare going, but sadly she's getting kind of broke involving welfare. So she decided to start her career as a story writer. And this is when she wrote her first story, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Yeah, I got the books, got the movies, and I got, audiobooks. Because I'm not much of a reader. I gotta listen to the audiobooks in order for me to get to the story. Anyway, this story was a beginner of this story. And do you know the original title was actually Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone? But as she published the book, she changed it to Sorcerer's Stone, because not many people don't even know the word philosopher mean. And the Philosopher's Stone is exactly the way the story says. It's a kind of a ruby stone. It turns any metal into pure gold and creates an elixir of life. Turns anybody to immortal. And it turns out that Harry Potter, they call him the boy who lived. Reason why they call him that is because there is an evil sorcerer who goes by the name of Voldemort. He was the most evil sorcerer throughout history. And anybody who stood up against Voldemort ends up dead. And one thing about Voldemort he has a problem with, he hates Muggles. And do you know what Muggles are, people? Muggles are non-magic folks. Like us. Normal, actual people. And Voldemort hates us. And even they're going against Muggle-born witches and wizards. You know, when you have a human mother and a human father, and they have a child, and all of a sudden they gave birth to a witch or a wizard. That's Muggle-born. Anyway, throughout the entire story, you start to discover that the dark, evil sorcerer named Voldemort, he killed Harry Potter's mom and dad. And he was about ready to kill Harry Potter, but sadly, it backfired. And it killed Voldemort, but left a lightning-shaped scar on his forehead. And it kind of aches his forehead every time when Voldemort's appearance appeared. When his appearance appeared, it caused Harry Potter's scar to ache really bad. And he is supposed to be the chosen one to defeat against the evil Dark Lord, Voldemort. And the Sorcerer's Stone, as it turns out, Voldemort, he is, even though he is dead, there are ways that he might return, and he became the parasite to a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher named Professor Quill. He becomes a parasite on the back of his head, and now he wants the Sorcerer's Stone in order for him to live on forever. And Harry Potter is chosen to stop Voldemort. And that was just the beginning, folks. Now to the other story. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. As it turns out, there is a creature living in the Chamber of Secrets. It was owned by Salazar Slytherin, the head of the Slytherin house. Oh yeah, that was one thing I forgot to mention. There are 3 different types of houses on Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. There is Gryffindor, that's what Harry Potter is. There is Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Slytherin. And that's where Harry Potter's bully, named Draco Malfoy, is a part of. And they say Voldemort was in Slytherin. And he also has a potion teacher who goes by the name of Severus Snape. And he treats Harry Potter very bad because he looks a lot like his dad. As it turns out, Snape hated Harry Potter's dad, but he also has a crush on his mom. And felt bad when Voldemort killed Harry Potter's mother and father. So Severus Snape is trying to protect Harry Potter while at the same time treating him like garbage. And the head teacher, named Albus Dumbledore, he is totally aware of what's going on in the world, and he's trying his best to protect Harry as well. And let Harry know about what the evil Dark Lord had been through. And of course, the Chamber of Secrets, ladies and gentlemen, as it turns out, it's an Abasculus. If you don't know what that is, it's a huge giant snake, and they say he is the king of all snakes, and their fangs are very venomous, but what is a lot more deadlier, if you look in the Abasculus right in the eyes, he'll die instantly. And they say the heir of Slytherin is chosen to summon that snake, and it turns out it's Voldemort, and he was appearing as a memory in Voldemort's diary. It turns out his real name was Tom Riddle. Imagine that. And the Phoenix, owned by Albus Dumbledore, you know what a Phoenix is, a firebird. If you haven't looked up mythologies and such, you should look it up. Their beak is sharp as anything, and it plucked out the eyes of the basilisk. And their tail is really strong, it could pick up 1 billion people. And also, its tears gives healing factor. And they always say that the phoenix, when it gets to old age, it'll burst into flames and rise from the ashes as a newborn. Pretty neat, huh? And not many people know that if you look at some of the old Catholic Church, they have some pictures of a phoenix in their old Catholic Church. They always thought that the phoenix is kind of similar to Jesus because he died and he resurrected from his tomb. Anyway, after discovering the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter deal with this one is my least favorite book in this story. The Prisoner of Azkaban. And it involves Harry Potter's godfather. I don't know his first name, but his last name is Black. And as it turns out, he was blamed for killing a bunch of muggles, even though it turns out he was innocent all along. It was Voldemort's right-hand man named Wormtongue who did all the killing, and now he hid as a mouse. And Harry Potter starts to discover what's going on, and he also helps this a griffin, and that's what a griffin is right here. Part bird, part horse, and you can ride on it if you show some respects. And then there's some Dementors, it shows right here. What the Dementors are? They're these hooded, ghostly creatures who suck happiness out of you. Harry Potter has hooded creatures called Dementors. Lord of the Rings have these ring wraith characters who are hooded. What is it with hooded creatures? And of course, Star Wars have Darth Sidious, and he's hooded. Now let's get to the other interesting story. The fourth one. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It's a little thick. It turns out in this story, and of course they kept running out of teachers against the dark arts, defense against the dark arts. They always kept running them out. Anyway, throughout this story, Harry Potter all of a sudden gets chosen by this great race going on, and they're sharing the competition with the French and the Russian students and teachers. And throughout the entire story, Harry discovered it was a trap. Wormtongue set that trap, and he risen Voldemort once again. And of course, according to the story, he's bald, he's pale, snake-like nose, snake-like eyes, and just kind of snake-like. Oh, that's creepy. Now it's Order of the Phoenix. It's kind of the in-between stories. There's a lot of things in the story I don't like, and stories I do like. As it turns out, the head of magic, he's becoming very skeptical and disbelieve that Voldemort exists. So he hires this new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher who has a face like a frog, who always keeps telling everybody that the whole thing about Voldemort was a lie. What a witch! I really hate that character! She ticks me off to no end! But as it turns out, there is a secret society called Order of the Phoenix that Albus Dumbledore created. Him and the group of wizards trying to defeat against the evil Dark Lord themselves. And now Harry Potter formed a new group called Dumbledore's Army. And they're trying to practice their own magic their own way, because this Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, what she's doing is she's trying to let all the professors not teach children the proper magic in order to defend themselves against any defense against dark arts. And just let them do paperwork. And every time Harry Potter mentioned Voldemort, she punishes him by writing this quill, and it turns out red ink comes out, and he starts feeling this prickly pain on his arm, and as he sees his arm, it's his handwriting. It's like forcing him to sign his own blood on the paper, never mention the Dark Lord. I really hate that witch. I would like to pump her right in the face, I tell you that. Now let's get to another story. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Albus Dumbledore, he starts teaching him more about the backstory about Tom Riddle, who is, of course, Voldemort. Tell him more of his backstory and some of the family members of his. And even though Harry Potter, he doesn't believe that Snape is the one to protect him, and it kind of showed in that one scene, they wanted Malfoy, the one who hates Harry Potter, to kill Albus Dumbledore because most of the Death Eaters, that's Voldemort's secret society group, Death Eaters, to kill Albus Dumbledore, but instead, Severus Snape's kill him. But as it turns out, it was all part of the plan. He wanted to get the Dark Lord on his good side by killing Albus Dumbledore, because it turns out Snape was a double agent. Now I know why I like Snape, because there's something secretive about him. It kind of makes him be a good person. And even though he treated Harry Potter like trash, but deep inside he does love him. Unconditionally love him. And then we get to the final story and the 7th story now. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I only saw the movie because I didn't have the audiobook of it, so I was stuck. But some of my friends told me more about the story, and of course I've seen a lot of the clips. As it turns out, Voldemort is planning to invade Hogwarts. And even though Albus Dumbledore died, now Professor McGonagall, Albus Dumbledore's right-hand man and head of Gryffindor, is now taking over the school now. And she's protecting Hogwarts and having the students protect themselves with their spells. And even though they have the new head of magic involved, he's kind of acting like a jerk. When would they ever learn? It's like Russia. And of course, throughout the whole story, not only Harry Potter is the chosen one to kill Voldemort, there's also another student named Neville Longbottom. He's chosen to kill Severus Snape. Who's chosen to kill Voldemort's pet, that snake. And that snake is what keeping Voldemort alive. While Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, his friends, decided to destroy this cup, and what keeps him alive as well. So, as it turns out, it becomes the fight to the death between Harry Potter and Voldemort, and Harry Potter won. And then they did a few years later, where now Harry Potter marries Ginny Weasley, Ron Weasley's sister, and Ron Weasley marries Hermione Granger. And now Harry Potter has a son. And everything went back to normal once again. As you can see, this is all a story about good versus evil. And I don't even hear I didn't even read or hear any single character saying worship Satan. Satan's got nothing to do in this story. It's just fantasy fun. And it's all about good versus evil. And that's all it is. Every story always have good versus evil. Even the Bible has good versus evil. Resist the temptation. Avoid everything that Satan's trying to tempt you in. Think about it. And most of my stories always have good versus evil too. Anyway, as the books got so popular and I couldn't get the audiobook for Deadly Hallows, but I have collecting the movies. In which I have to say the movies are really good. Almost got the whole set except Deadly Hallows Part 2. Why do they always have to put the final story in two-parters? I mean, it's ridiculous. Very ridiculous. Anyway, I have to say these actors did a really good job. Alan Arkin, the late Alan Arkin, who played Severus Snape. Yeah, that's right, Alan Arkin passed away. And he is a really good actor. I like him. I mean, he played Hans on Die Hard. Beggar, hunt the little crap down and get my detonators. And he also appeared in other movies I've seen him in and he gets pretty funny. And of course there's that Blaspheme movie that Kevin Smith played, and the only decent character I ever seen in this movie was Alan Arkin playing the voice of God, an angel called Metatron, who is the voice of God. But I'm not going to review that movie, and it's called Dogma. You guys watch it yourself and see what you think, because I don't have the heart to review that. Because Dogma was a real Blaspheme movie, and I don't have the heart to review that. Especially with Jay and Silent Bob. Seriously. And I have to say that Emma Watson, who plays Hermione Granger, I mean, I watch her grew, and wow, she looks good. Very attractive woman. And of course, the actress who plays Ginny Weasley's not bad too. Anyway, these are my movies I collected. And if any of you ever wanted to go to a video store, why don't you give these movies a shot and watch them? For those of you who are not book readers. And just watch the movies instead. These movies are very fun. And exactly how I imagine how the book goes. Anyway, since I finally got that monkey off my back. Oh, and check this out. One thing they did in the story that I really like so much, they have something called chocolate frogs. And each chocolate frogs has a collectible trading cards of famous witches and wizards. And I got myself some. I bought it at a candy store over at Belterra, but sadly now that candy store went out of business. And I was lucky to get the rest of these. And the chocolate frogs, they're like rice. They're like Nestle's Crunch. Have that Rice Krispies inside of a chocolate, shaped like frogs. So, there's nothing bad taste on that one. I was lucky enough to get the chocolate frogs and not the every flavor beans, because they mean every flavor. And I'm not going to go, alas, earwax. Anyway, these cards are pretty cool. Pretty awesome. And I got Albus Dumbledore. They move, well, you move them. Almost got the whole set. Almost got the whole set. I'm only missing Gildry Lockhart and the Potter family. That's right, I got them all except 2. And I am not going to Universal Theme Park to get the movie version of the Chocolate Frogs, because those suckers were like, cost about an arm and a leg. At least I got these suckers for like $3.50. Until when it was almost out of business, they were 50% off. So I was lucky enough to buy them all. Buy them all as I could. And I also gave the extras to a group of my friends. I even got the extras for some of my friends. So if any of you ever found a Gildry Lockhart card or the Potter family card, I'll probably have the whole set. Anyway, this is your friend, the great, Oz, the great and powerful. Telling you all, if you like this video, please leave a comment down below, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to complain about all this. Anyway, since I finally am done with Harry Potter, I know I was getting tired of reviewing superheroes, but I think I'm going to review a superhero who is a sorcerer supreme from the Marvel Comics. So you better stay tuned, because I'm going to review Doctor Strange. So you better stay tuned, folks, because there's a lot more magic in the air. Bye-bye. Oh, and trust me, I don't believe in magic.